I didn't think these things would be a topic this year. It's certainly not at this point, but here we go again.
Because now Indiana Fever players, all right, are getting called into question. Indiana Fever fans are getting called into question today. We got one post on here where somebody's literally calling, they're talking about there should be a boycott. That's what it really is, of the All-Star game over player safety.
Did you hear about the recent racial allegations that were made about Indiana Fever fans making animal noises to Angel Reese as she shot a free throw?
It's a flagrant. And then Chicago will maintain the basketball. Reese misses.
The internet blew up stating that these animal noises are extreme, while others claim that it is manufactured or fake. And in a recent interview, Caitlin Clark speaks openly about the allegations and what she thinks about them.
The following is a statement from the WNBA regarding yesterday's game in Indianapolis. The WNBA strongly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms. They have no place in our league or in society. We are aware of the allegations and are looking into the matter. Now, I agree with strongly condemning racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms, and I agree they have no place in our league or in society.
Either way, Angel Reese didn't just lose a basketball game. She lost control of the entire narrative and possibly her credibility. 1 minute, she was getting dismantled by Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever in a 35-point humiliation on national television. The next, she was accusing Fever fans of shouting racial slurs. An accusation so serious, the WNBA launched a league-wide investigation within 24 hours. But here's the part that doesn't add up. There's no video, no audio, no witnesses, nothing.
I really hope this isn't in response to some of the stuff that's been floating around on social media in the last day or so. Allegations made in text form with no backing or any video or even any evidence that the person who's making them was in attendance.
Not one shred of evidence from an arena packed with thousands of people, courtside microphones, and non-stop cell phone footage. If something really happened, why hasn't anyone seen it? What we do have footage of is Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky getting destroyed by Caitlin Clark and the Fever. While Reese's camp was fanning flames online, Caitlin Clark was out there making WNBA history, becoming the first player in league history to drop a triple-double in a season opener. The media was busy chasing drama, but the real story was unfolding on the court. Even popular sports shows such as the Pat McAfee Show weighed in the situation.
She has surpassed everybody in the amount of time that she has played in the WNBA. She fills up every arena.
Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, comment down below if you think that these racial allegations are true or more of an excuse for the horrific performance that was on display from the Sky. Now let's get into it.
Look, Angel Reese supporters are losing cabin pressure as we speak. It is ugly. I mean, ugly. Some of the most vile, hateful things I've ever seen are being said on Twitter X right now. It's got nothing, this should have nothing to do with skin color, but they're making it about that. You better believe it.
It started with a single post, a vague tweet, no video, no photo, no name, just a few lines accusing Indiana Fever fans of yelling racial slurs at Angel Reese during the game. And then it spread like wildfire. Within hours, dozens of accounts were echoing the same thing. Claims that the environment in Indiana was unsafe, that players didn't feel comfortable, and that something had to be done. It didn't matter that there was no proof. It didn't matter that no reporters, players, or fans sitting courtside had mentioned anything. The allegation had already gone viral, and the WNBA took the bait.
Number one, let me put it out there. I don't believe for a second that Indiana Fever fans were yelling racial slurs where there were television mics down by the court. I don't believe it. They would have gotten thrown out of the arena. So don't let that narrative, it would be everywhere. Somebody would have it on camera. It would get leaked. It would be online right now.
The league issued a formal statement condemning hate, racism, and discrimination in all forms. They promised a full investigation. They launched it under their No Space for Hate initiative, putting Angel Reese and her claims at the center of national attention. But here's what they didn't do. Wait for the facts. No footage, no audio, no confirmation that the accuser was even in the building. Yet suddenly, the biggest story in women's basketball wasn't Caitlin Clark's triple-double. It was an unverified internet post.
If I was the head of PR, I would not have put out a statement about anything until the actual investigation was concluded. I do not see the benefit of the statement now. It makes the story 10 times bigger than it was.
Fans were stunned, not just Fever fans, but basketball fans in general, because they'd seen this game, they watched it live, they saw the crowd, they saw the atmosphere, and nothing about it looked hostile, nothing felt dangerous. In fact, outside of the moment Reese collided with Clark and the crowd booed, it looked like your typical home court blowout. But once the narrative was out there, the damage was done, and that's when people started asking the real question, why now? You've seen how fast the internet can run with a story, but what happens when there's no proof to back it up? That's exactly what makes this controversy so bizarre.
They're going after the Chicago front office about clear racism and uneasiness the players feel playing in that arena.
This wasn't a preseason game in a half-empty gym. This was a sold-out arena, a nationally televised matchup with dozens of cameras, courtside microphones, and thousands of phones recording from every angle. And yet, somehow, we're expected to believe that in the middle of all that, not a single second of evidence exists to confirm what Angel Reese's supporters are claiming. Not one video, not one audio recording, not even a fuzzy clip from the nosebleeds. Here is a different angle of the supposedly racial comments being made to Angel Reese. As you can hear, there was nothing out of the norm, but a whole lot of boos going on. And here's where things really get suspicious. The timing. Even more strange, no one sitting near Reese has spoken up. No journalists, no fans, no opposing players, no Fever staff, nothing. The silence is deafening. And it's not because people weren't paying attention, it's because this supposedly explosive incident might not have even happened at all.
Angel Reese acted like a total and complete idiot, and it got called out for it.
And here's where things really get suspicious. The timing. These accusations weren't made before the game, not during it, not right after. They surfaced only after Reese had one of her worst performances to date, and Clark lit up the court with a historic triple-double. The controversy didn't erupt from the moment itself. It erupted from the embarrassment that followed. And once you realize that, you start to wonder, was this a safety issue or a carefully timed distraction? Angel Reese didn't make these claims after a competitive game. She made them after getting humiliated, after getting dominated by Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever in one of the most lopsided nationally televised beatdowns of the WNBA season.
And Caitlin Clark handled her business game 1. 20, 10, and 10. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, what did the kids say? Belt to ass? Oh yeah.
Let's be clear, this wasn't a close game. It wasn't a hard-fought battle. It was a 35-point public dismantling. The Fever ran the sky out of the gym, and Reese, she looked like a player and way over her head. She missed multiple layups, grabbed her own rebounds just to miss again. She was fronted in the post, shut down by Aaliyah Boston, and completely neutralized by Indiana's double teams. The only stat she padded, offensive boards, and even those came from her own blown opportunities.
So Reese spinning, couldn't pop it in, the O board, no. Another chance stripped.
The controversy exploded just hours after the game ended. At the exact moment, the footage started circulating online of Reese's worst plays, her frustrated body language, and Clark's historic stat line. It was almost too convenient, and what really exposed it all was what the footage did show during that infamous flagrant foul sequence. If you want to understand just how manufactured this controversy feels, look no further than the now infamous flagrant foul on Angel Reese, and what happened just seconds before it. At a glance, it looks like Caitlin Clark committed a hard foul to stop Reese from scoring, but that's only half the story. Watch the clip again.
And Look out, Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese.
Before Clark ever makes contact, Angel Reese blatantly pushes a Fever player out of the way with both hands to grab the rebound. It's not subtle, it's not physical hustle, it's a textbook shove, the kind that gets called as an offensive. Foul in every game at every level, but the refs, they swallow the whistle. Clark immediately turns to the official and points at the push, clearly asking for a call. And when nothing comes, she makes a smart, instinctive move, a take foul to stop an easy layup. But instead of recognizing it as a normal basketball decision, the refs go to the monitor and upgrade it to a flagrant. And Angel Reese starts putting on a performance for the cameras. She jumps up, charges toward Clark, starts yelling. The crowd rises to its feet, expecting a full-on brawl. Let that sink in. Caitlin Clark made a clean take foul after a missed call. Angel Reese started the drama. Aaliyah Boston tried to de-escalate it, and somehow Clark and Boston were the ones punished.
What happened when you got the flagrant? Aaliyah, you got a technical. What could have happened there?
AB got the tick? I know. Wait, what? I got the tick? I didn't know that. Oh, first of all,
I know.
Let's not make it anything that it's not. It was just a good play on the basketball.
But it wasn't just fans who noticed how ridiculous this entire sequence was. The sports world did too. When something doesn't pass the smell test, the sports world usually picks up on it fast. And in this case, it wasn't just fans calling out the absurdity. It was big names across multiple platforms. Former NFL quarterback Robert Griffin III said what everyone else was too afraid to say out loud.
And there is a lot of history there with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. You guys remember last year when Angel Reese celebrated Kennedy Carter getting that flagrant foul on the hip check against Caitlin Clark? You remember?
There's no way Angel Reese can continue the lie that she doesn't dislike Caitlin Clark. That wasn't about basketball, that was personal.
So why do I think Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark? It could be the fact that Aaliyah Boston had to save Angel Reese from ending her career. This is a still shot. After the foul that Caitlin Clark put on Angel Reese tried to hit her. But if it wasn't for Aaliyah Boston putting her arms in the way, Angel Reese would not be playing basketball anymore, because she was gonna sucker punch Caitlin Clark.
He doubled down, calling the reaction pure hatred, not a hard-fought rivalry. And based on how Reese exploded after a routine foul, it's hard to argue with him. Then came LaShawn McCoy on FS1, who laughed at the idea that Clark and Reese were equals.
LaShawn McCoy, hell of an NFL player. Now he's at FS1. Man, for y'all who try to compare Angel Reese to Caitlin Curry Clark, should knock it off. It wasn't close in the college or pros. Watching this game, they're on two different planets. Yeah, from a basketball standpoint, they're not close. They're not. It's not even an argument.
They're not even close. It's embarrassing to keep comparing them. That was never a rivalry. It was a beatdown. But the loudest voice might have been Pat McAfee, broadcasting from Indiana, who took a blowtorch to the narrative.
This is the golden goose. This is the one. This is the generational, multi-generational player.
This is the golden goose. This is the multi-generational player. And she went fussing ham on opening night, and the story becomes fake tweets and a flagrant foul. What are we doing?
And there was a little scene, because Angel Reese comes out, same class. Caitlin Clark comes out, same class. A lot of people saying, obviously, Angel Reese is a massive part of this women's basketball rebirth.
He didn't just defend Clark. He criticized the league itself for reacting to unverified internet rumors instead of protecting the integrity of the game. And that's exactly what makes this entire drama so frustrating to real fans. Because while the media was focused on accusations with no receipts, Caitlin Clark was doing something we've never seen before. And that brings us to the real story everyone should be talking about. This wasn't just a good game, it was a masterpiece. Clark dictated the tempo from the jump. She hit logo threes. She threw cross-court dimes through traffic. She grabbed rebounds over taller defenders. She controlled the game like a 10-year vet.
On that 15-foot area, Clark
connects the first logo bomb of this.
And she did it all with the composure of someone who's tired of the noise and ready to win. But the most insane part, almost no one talked about it. Instead of Clark's stat line leading the headlines, it was the flagrant foul. It was the allegations. It was the crowd behavior. That triple-double, the one that had never been done. before in a WNBA season opener got buried beneath clickbait, outrage, and speculation. Meanwhile, on the other side, Angel Reese disappeared. Her stats were hollow, her presence was minimal, her post-game comments were short and deflective. No accountability, no recognition of what happened on the floor, just vague answers and a storyline pivot that tried to drag the attention elsewhere.
Already her 7th, averaged a league record 13 per game last year.
And here's the crazy part, it almost worked, until fans started digging, until they rewatched the footage, until they realized the real story wasn't about fan behavior, it was about how far apart these two players really are. But if you think Clark's performance was the only thing that exposed the truth, just wait until you see how she completely dismantled the racial allegations on a live interview. For days, the headlines were loud, the allegations were serious, and the league responded instantly. But through it all, Caitlin Clark said nothing, until now. In a recent interview, when asked directly about the league's investigation, Clark finally broke her silence. But her response, calm, measured, and telling.
Yeah, there's no place for that in our game, there's no place for that in society, and certainly we want every person that comes into our arena, whether player, whether fan, to have a great experience. So I appreciate the league doing that. I appreciate, the Fever organization has been at the forefront of that since, really day one and what they're doing. So we'll, hopefully the investigation, we'll leave that up to them to find anything and take the proper action if so.
There is no place for that in basketball. No outrage, no counter accusations, no dramatic soundbite, just class, professionalism, and focus on the game. She didn't try to refute the claims. She didn't fan the flames. She said exactly what a real leader says. If something happened, that's unfortunate, but she was focused on basketball, and that's what makes this moment so important. While the media spun wild narratives and social media accounts pointed fingers, Caitlin Clark stayed composed. She let her performance speak louder than anyone's accusations, and when she finally addressed it, she did it with poise, reminding everyone that she's here to lead a franchise, not a feud. Clark's response wasn't just classy, it exposed the entire situation for what it truly is, a distraction, a narrative built to shift the conversation away from the actual game. But when the dust settles, only one thing matters: who performed. Because while Angel Reese was focused on the crowd, Caitlin Clark was rewriting the record books. At the end of the day, this wasn't just about a game. It wasn't even just about a flagrant foul or viral claims. It was about how two stars handled the pressure when the lights were the brightest. Angel Reese tried to shift the narrative. She let the moment get bigger than the game. Caitlin Clark, she answered with silence, history, and leadership. When finally asked about the allegations, her response was simple: I was just playing basketball, but if someone felt disrespected, that's disappointing. She didn't deflect, she didn't escalate. While everyone else was chasing drama, Clark was making history, dropping a triple-double in her season debut, leading her team to a 35-point domination, and refusing to get dragged into the noise. That's the difference between being in the spotlight and knowing what to do with it, and whether you believe the allegations or not, whether you think they were real, exaggerated, or completely fabricated, we can all agree on one thing. Caitlin Clark said it best: there's no place for hate, racism, or discrimination in sports, or anywhere else, period. If you think the allegations are true about the Indiana Fever fans, drop it in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because if this is just the start of the season, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in the next video.